The Houston Astros are still making us wait when it comes to a contract extension for Alex Bregman, or I guess the more possible trade of Kyle Tucker, maybe even Framber Valdez. I saw a couple of reports yesterday. We got to work on what is and what isn't reporting. I like Ari Alexander a lot. Ari Alexander had this tweet yesterday at 3:51 p.m. Can confirm market for Alex Bregman is heating up per source. What does that mean? What does heating up mean? By the way, it's been nearly 24 hours. Doesn't seem very hot. It doesn't seem very hot.
It's a slow cook, all right?
The reporting from the winter meetings is ridiculous. I mean, baseball writers, baseball scribes, my bad. Got to give them the proper title. These douche nozzles. They take themselves so seriously, and yet the reporting they're doing, which they believe is akin to Woodward and Bernstein talking to old Deep Throat to bring down Nixon with Watergate, they're acting like they do such a noble thing for the game and that they're storytellers, when in reality, this time of year, they're just throwing BS out there. Because now, being almost right about something is about as good in reporting as actually being right about something. Low bar for everything. But this is the kind of reporting that you get. Things are heating up. Team X is listening to offers for player Y. There's a sense that player Z could be next to sign. That was the one we reported yesterday from Mark Feinsand. Team A had a competitive offer for player B. I saw this one. This is a report about about Alex Bregman, I think from Brian Hoke. Hearing more buzz connecting Yankees to Alex Bregman. Interest is real. That's not a report. That's not anything. How do you get paid? You're clearly not entertaining or a star like me. How do you get paid? You're just putting gobbledygook out there. Buzzwords. Literally the word buzz. The buzz is heating up. What is that? What does that mean? What are you talking about? Give me an actual story. Give me an actual report. You're there with them. Get these guys on the record and give me a quote. Things are heating up. What? What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's all just so nebulous, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just like, there's a lot of smoke around.
Should I put something out? Everyone's doing it. I may as well put something out there. And guess what? It'll seem just as real as all this other stuff. Now, I think people know that I'm too sarcastic to actually, pull that one off. I think people are annoyed, in fact, with how sarcastic I am over the course of a show. And that's fine. But I could do this, and I could actually act like I know something. I am 1 for 1 with my report. I have one report ever. It was that Jake Locker got benched for Zach Mettenberger. And I never wanted to report on anything again because people got so mad at me for reporting this and having it first. I had it. I had a pretty good source. I wanted to get a second source, and then I may have, made it seem like I didn't actually have the story. No, I had it from like the sourciest of sources. But going to a journalism school, I thought I needed to confirm it. Clearly, going to a journalism school was a waste of time because I could just go out there and say, there's a buzz that's heating up about something. Like, shut up. Good God.
I think if the market actually is heating up for Bregman and he does sign relatively soon, you should just, hour after he signs, be like, hearing the market's heating up for Jorge Polanco. Hashtag Astros are interested.
Astros might be interested.
Yeah, Astros might be interested.
Astros rumored to be interested.
Yeah,
right.
It's like just nothing.
Because you could put that out there. I mean, like this is what people like Michael Schwab do. Like everyone's doing it. And I went to war with Michael Schwab last night because Michael Schwab's being a propagandist for the Astros. Whoever his person is that's in the Astros is just feeding him stuff, and he is essentially repeating it Bobo as Bobo can be. Like it's word for word, essentially. You could tell. Just read what he is saying here. Can we play the Soviet national anthem for a second so we can really give Michael Schwab's propaganda the, I think, ambiance that it deserves? This is from Michael Schwab last night. Here's your wrap on the day. Let's let the Soviets sing for a little bit. Here is your wrap-up on the day if you missed it. The night is young. Alex Bregman's market is heating up. Huh? The Red Sox, Yankees, and Phillies are very interested. Astros are still in the mix, but it doesn't seem likely. Kyle Tucker is getting a lot of trade interest, and teams are upping their offers. The Yankees and Cubs are very serious, but it would take a blockbuster deal to make it happen. This is reporting. This is reporting. And then we get to a point where Michael Schwab just goes all in, clearly repeating what the Astros are telling him. Trading Kyle Tucker doesn't mean the team is rebuilding. It's very different. I don't want to lose Tuck, but the writing is on the wall that he won't be extended. If you lose him, you lose a 5-tool player in the outfield. To make that trade, you need at least 2 MLB quality players who keep the team competitive. You also hope you can get 1 or 2 prospects to help reload the farm system. I don't see the Astros phoning it in. They still have one of the highest payrolls in baseball. Who told him that? So if the Astros land players like Isaac Paredes and Seiya Suzuki, that means they are replacing a close to 5 lowercase b WAR loss with a combined 6.2 lowercase b WAR game. The team that's 1 lowercase b WAR and adds 2 quality bats to the lineup. Also, 2 players who would crush into the Crawford boxes. The Astros would still have work to do by losing Alex Bregman and his b WAR, but that's where someone like Christian Walker would be a great fit. Someone from the Astros organization is telling Schwab, who thinks himself an Astros reporter, and hey, more connected than me, all the power in the world to him. But that is just straight propaganda. Like, this is what the Astros can do if they don't get Alex Bregman back. This is what the Astros will do if they trade for those 2, using Kyle Tucker to get him. This is propaganda. So that's what reporting is now. It's like this buzzwords, like, oh, the buzz is heating up. Or it's straight propaganda that's coming from the Astros. It's like, actually, it's not that bad if we move on from Kyle Tucker and if we move on from Alex Bregman, even though the window is never going to close while Jim Crane runs things. Never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Like, listen, we all love the Astros, right? They've done a lot of things for us, but do not lie to us, okay? Don't lie to us. You trade Tucker, step back. You let Bregman walk, step back. Stop with this. Oh, well, the B-War is going to actually be better. You get these 2. Shut the F up. What are you talking about? Well, I don't even know what that is. What is B-War? That war was the thing we were supposed to study. Where's the Klondorf, Schwab? Where is it, you propagandist? Moscow Michael! Answer me! And on that note, I did get into a back and forth with Schwab. I do feel like he's being a propagandist for the Astros. Hey, listen. We reporters are sometimes made to be useful idiots. Been there before. Like, I'm not dumping on it. I have 100% been a useful idiot for certain Houston sports figures in the past. I was young. I learned. But I got into it with him about this. He also said, like, when I suggested, why don't the Astros think about using deferred salaries? Why do the Astros have this weird line in the sand that they draw when it comes to offering a player more than a 5 or 6 year deal? Because, like, they just won't do it. And honestly, it feels like that. What's 1 extra year for Alex Bregman? You signed up for 3 years of Rafael Montero. You signed up for 3 years of Jose Abreu, who's clearly diminishing in skill. What's 1 more year of Alex Bregman? Is it really going to hurt? 1 more year? Because it feels like the 1 more year is going to get this thing finished. But I think Jim Crane has a code. And I get it. Like, every man has to have a code, to quote the great Omar or the Hound in Game of Thrones. This was a great scene from Wire Season 1.
A man must have a code. Oh, no doubt.
Indeed. You got to have a code. But the Astros code is, hey, we're never going to give somebody more than a 6-year deal. Why? Bregman can't be an exception. You're so married to this. Like, you got to adapt. You do have to adapt if you want to keep this thing together. And maybe you need to use something like deferring salaries or something like that. And Schwab was making this argument. And again, it felt propagandist to me that, hey, the reason that the Astros aren't doing this is because deferred salaries are really so that states like California and states like New York, the teams can avoid players getting taxed as much as they would. Okay. maybe that is a factor. And I saw that there are some California politicians that are bitching about the deferred contract that Shohei Ohtani got because that's tax dollars that's lost if you defer the salary the way that they're doing. Or it's tax dollars that won't really be as much due to inflation and being down the road, et cetera, et cetera. And okay, maybe that is a factor, but I think that's a very convenient red herring for the Houston Astros to point to and say, like, oh, well, maybe they're just doing it because they're in California, right? Deferred salaries do give an edge. It's not just about let's make it so that Shohei Ohtani can get all of his money. It can't be just that. It has to be something else. Why would the Dodgers be doing it? What's it? $1 billion in deferred contracts that they've given out? Deferred salary? Is it just because they want to exploit a loophole that allows those players to make money? No. They also want to win. They're taking advantage of a loophole. And since they have a hedge fund that's basically funding them, that allows them to do things like this, to be creative like this. But why aren't the Astros being creative like this? I feel like the Astros are married to this code that they have, and they don't need to be married to it. We heard from Dana Brown yesterday talking about flexibility. Well, where's the flexibility? It feels like you're like, nope, it is against the rules for us to give a contract that's longer than 6 years. And okay, maybe you can't do deferred salary. Maybe Schwab is an accountant by day, aggregator by night. I truly don't know. If he is, like, props to you. I don't know much about all this stuff. And maybe you actually are making the correct point here, but it does feel like the Astros are feeding you that. And I feel like the Astros should be open to exploring alternative ways to keep everyone around. That doesn't mean that they had to keep Correa. It doesn't mean that they had to keep Springer. It doesn't mean that they had to keep Garrett Cole or anything like that. No, it doesn't. But I do feel like they have such a hardline approach to it, and it's worked. But it stands to reason that this is the time where it won't. With a guy like Bregman, the intangibles he brings to the table, his patience at the plate, his fielding ability. Even if he gets off to the slow starts, the guy delivers in the playoffs. You trust him more than you trust Kyle Tucker. Don't you want that guy around? I mean, he's 30. What's so bad about 7 years from now when this team is probably going to blow, right? Can we agree on that? It would be great to keep this going, but I mean, does anyone think that 7 years from now this is going to still be going? That would be impossible. Like the Spurs and the Patriots, like those are really the only modern examples of like a 15-year dynasty or so. I guess the Warriors you could argue too, like, but they're not quite to the 14, 15-year mark, right? I mean, they're about 10. It's hard to maintain this. Why are we so scared about something that's 2 years down the road? And it feels like the Astros are just married to some weird, old, antiquated system that they have yet to adapt to. But they're saying the window is open all the time. Okay, doesn't seem like it because you're not opening it all the way. It's like a crack.
It's also the team is getting worse. Like the team is not as good the last 2 years as they were in 2019 and before. Like the arrow is pretty clearly pointing down on this team, and they're basically volunteering to go further down. Which is, yeah, I mean, you can mention all the war you want. Again, I've also seen Moneyball. Michael Schwab. I know what replacing someone in the aggregate means. That was just a fancy way of saying the Brad Pitt line from
Yeah,
Moneyball. That, yeah, you just get two war players, and that's the same as having one six-war player. It's like, not really. That's not actually how it works.
it's not. I mean, he does things that many other players can't do. And okay, like if Tucker's starting to suck, you can sell me on that.
Mhm.
He's bad in the postseason, but when he's healthy, he's not bad. And I think he's going to be good this coming season, given that one, his leg injury should be healed finally, that the Astros claimed wasn't broken. Oops, can't say that. They effed this up a little bit. That was an unintentional swear for a change. Tip of the hat.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just slips out. But they effed that up. The Astros did by acting like he didn't have a broken bone in his leg. He did. Like, clearly he's going to be mad about that. So he should be healthy next year. And of course, it's the last year of his contract. So stands to reason this is going to be the best year of his career next year. Some people would say, well, you would say the same thing about Alex Bregman. Okay, fair counter argument. I mean, it did take Bregman a while to get going in the last year of his deal. But I mean, did he not finish out the year strong? Did he not finish out the year making you want to keep him around? Text from the 832. Like, I'm not paying $20 for beers if Bregman isn't out there at third base. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. So I think the Astros have to look at themselves in the mirror. They have to ask this question. Do we really need to stick to this code that we have arbitrarily created for specifically Alex Bregman? And does it really help us out to trade Kyle Tucker for 2 players and hopefully a prospect, but it doesn't seem like the Cubs want to part ways with the prospect the Astros want. Does it really make sense to draw this line in the sand and then also say, like, yeah, we'll be better by moving an elite talent that could be making $500 million after next year for 2 above average to good players? And I'm sure someone's gonna say they're better than that. Whatever. Go ahead. I ain't watching the Cubs. Maybe Joe can tell us about that. It is no Joe, just Paul. Galata George. Sean is behind the glass. 713-780-3776 to call into text. And you can join on Twitch as well at ESPN 975. Junior Bronco says the code only works if you stick to it 100% of the time. That is a fair counter argument. But shouldn't there be exceptions? I think there should be some exceptions. And I get it. Like, oh, you draw the line for your players as an ownership group. But I don't see the win here unless you're like, oh, they're going to get a compensatory pick back. The average B war of a 7th round pick. Oh my God. I got liftoff. Oh, relentless in my pants.